Welcome back to Newsroom. This is Chalice Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I bring you the latest on reforms and economics based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review and it's based off my interest. Thank you everyone for joining me. Let's get right into our news. Economy News Baghdad reports the economic expert Malman Dagher explains that the economic feasibility of project to delete zeros from the Iraqi currency, which is a frequent in political and economic circles from time to time, especially in times of inflation. Dagher says that the economy news that removing zeros does not change the level of inflation because it does not change the money supply or securities, adding that the state will have to spend money to print currencies equivalent to replace currency. On ways to preserve money during inflation in the markets, Dagher advises capital owners to invest in fixed assets that are not subject to commercial circulation, such as gold, real estate, and fixed assets to keep the money from eroding during the price of increases. Baghdad Today reports the financial advisor to Prime Minister Mauser Mohammed Saleh says on Wednesday about the possibility of canceling the dollar exchange rate in Iraq after implementing this step in Iran. Saleh has said that the steps taken by Iran means its official exit from the dollar area, whether in settling its foreign transactions with the world or in building its foreign reserves, and accordingly, it deals with all existing international currencies and will allow the circulation of the reserve foreign currencies in various forms, except for the United States dollar. He adds perhaps the exchange rate of the Iranian currency will be based in the future on currency basket systems, including the dollar, which means Iran will leave the International Monetary Fund system entirely, in addition to the embargo imposed by United States on Iran since 2011. Which stops any Iranian deals with the world in the currencies of the United States of America. Saleh has said that Iraq is completely different from Iran, as it is located within the dollar area, and its oil payments and foreign payments are closely linked to the US dollar and to the policy of fixed exchange rates between the dinar and the dollar only. Baghdad Ops List reports the White House has announced Tuesday that the U.S. President Joe Biden has extended the national emergency for Syria and Iraq. The White House said that Joe Biden decided to extend the national emergency over Syria May 11th, which is the date that it's supposed to end. The statement quoted Biden as saying that America will look at changes in policy and actions taken by Syria to confront the unusual threat to the national security of the United States in order to determine whether to continue or in the national emergencies in the future. In the context, Biden also declared to extend the national emergency around Iraq, which was announced under executive order May 22nd, which is the date that it's supposed to end. This came in a letter by Biden to the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Speaker Kamala Harris, in which he says that the obstacles to orderly reconstruction of Iraq, the restoration and maintenance of peace and security in the countries, and the development of political and economic institutions there still pose an unforeseen threat, familiar and usual the national security and foreign policy of the United States. Economist Alfred News reports the central bank warns against trading in digital, encrypted, and virtual currencies. This text of the central bank statement stated that in order to ensure the optimal implementation of CURE procedures referred to within Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Law number 39 of 2015, and that the instructions issued according to it, it was decided to prevent the use of cards and electronic wallets for the purpose of speculation and trading in digital currencies of all kinds, and subject those dealing with them to the provisions of the above laws. The central bank stressed to educate the public in this regards in order to implement the safety of the financial transactions in order to avoid operations that suspected of involving money laundering and terrorist financing. Shafak News has reported Al Rashid Bank announced Wednesday the removal of its name from the list of international sanctions of charters of the United Nations, which came in accordance with the documents issued on April 18th. The media office said that the decision came due to the efforts made by the Iraqi government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Parliament representative of the Republic of Iraq to the United Nations, and Al Rashid Bank. The statement stressed that this decision has restored Al Rashid's bank to its rightful place in the banking field. Baghdad Magazine News reports Al Rashid Bank warns those who wish to apply for advances and loans against dealing with fake offices and pages that claim to grant advances and loans to cooperation with the bank. The media office of the bank stated that the granting of advances is through the application of Al Rashid Bank. As for the loans, it is done through reviewing its branches in Baghdad and the Providence. The bank statement stressed that the bank is keen not to introduce an intermediary between it and the customers and is not responsible for any transaction outside of that. Baghdad Magazine News reports the National Security Advisor, Kazem al-Arji, confirms that Iraq is keen to cooperate with NATO. The media office of the National Security Advisor stated that the commander of NATO's mission in Iraq, Lieutenant General Michael Losgard, in the presence of missionary ambassador on the occasions of the end of the mission's leader work duties in Iraq, al-Arji stressed during the meeting, according to the statement, that Iraq is keen to cooperate with NATO and all parties that helped in its war against ISIS, reiterating Iraq's position to solve problems, end of the war in Ukraine, and sit at the dialogue table to spare the world of war. For his part, the commander of NATO's mission in Iraq explained that the Ukrainian-Russian crisis did not affect the mission's work and support for Iraq, stressing that the mission continues to provide support to Iraq. Sunday, the Iraqi Ministry of Defense reveals the signing of contracts with the United States and France to import advanced weapons and enhance the quality of artillery. The commander of the artillery classes in the ministry told the Iraqi news agencies, the INA, that the ministry has conducted contracts with France and America to import advanced weapons, including the artillery classes, which has proven in the recent period with merits and effectively its impact in all battles with ISIS terrorist gangs, explaining that the country continues to develop weapons for the security services and important long-armed cannons that target the enemy at long distances, after they have effectively proven their influence in battles, as they are considered better than aircraft and rifles, stressing that the state is interested in importing the types of guns to impose and control on everyone who offends the state and security services, where their use is effective and largely against the enemy. Also explaining the importance of new types of guns will be part of the agreement with the European countries. Regarding seating a president or prime minister, Parliament still has not reached a final decision. When I get that news, I'll report it. You've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics, bringing you the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here every Friday on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. Shout out to Currency 365 for his continued support. If you want to learn about stocks and cryptos while waiting on the dinar to revalue, you can join him and his crew for the most recent updates. You can find him on YouTube or Patreon. Well, that's all that I have for this week. I'll be doing a little gardening over the weekend. I hope that you guys get outdoors as it's beautiful and it's warming up. I will see you next week, everyone. Take care.